World-famous bedtime stories from Mom. Today's story is Puss in Boots. The protagonist, a cat, could never have imagined that its fate would change one day. Born in an ordinary mill, it thought it would spend its life covered in flour. However, one day, its master passed away, leaving behind a pair of mysterious boots hidden beneath the old floorboards. "What's this? Zero fashion sense, I see," the cat muttered to itself while looking at the boots. But as soon as it put them on, something amazing happened. Suddenly, it began to feel warm, and before it knew it, it could speak. "Wow, this feels like magic!" exclaimed the cat, surprised by its own voice. Should I now be called the talking cat in boots or the boot-wearing talking cat? The boots granted the cat astonishing abilities. It could now stand on two legs and walk like a human. Standing in front of a mirror, looking at its new appearance, the cat couldn't hide its excitement. "Now, I am both a cat among humans and a human among cats." The cat began to devise a grand plan to change the fate of its poor miller owner. "Don't worry, master. With these magical boots and my abilities, our lives will soon be filled with gold." Thus, the cat, wearing the boots, embarked on a new adventure. Its cleverness combined with the magic of the boots soon began to change their fate dramatically. The cat set out on its mission. "World, are you ready? Here comes the cat in magical boots." The cat began its elaborate scheme to change its owner's fate. Holding tightly to the boots, it started devising creative plans. "I will make my owner a count, the owner of rich lands," the cat declared confidently. As the first step, the cat decided to visit the royal court, but it didn't go merely as a visitor. It introduced its owner as Count Carabas. "With these boots and my brilliant intelligence, this introduction will be a piece of cake." Upon arriving at the royal court, the cat, with utmost politeness and acting as if it had been friends with the royalty for a long time, introduced its owner. "Your Majesties, I would like to introduce my master, Count Carabas, the owner of rich lands and a man full of benevolence and goodwill." The cat's eloquence and confidence enchanted the king and the princess. "It's regrettable that we have not met such a fine count in our kingdom before," said the king. The princess looked at the cat with curiosity-filled eyes. However, the cat's plans didn't end there. It concocted a lie to present its owner with rich lands, deceiving the king and princess into believing that its owner already possessed vast territories. "Count Carabas' lands are wide and fertile, more prosperous than any kingdom. You will fall in love with its beauty once you visit." Successfully deceiving the king and princess, they took the cat's words at face value, growing more curious about Count Carabas. The cat relayed all these developments to its master, advising him to prepare for his new identity. "Master, you are now Count Carabas. You must act confidently and elegantly before the king and princess. Don't worry, I have prepared everything. Our new life begins now," the cat said, moving forward with its master towards a new adventure. The cat's plans became bolder. Its next target was a magnificent castle owned by a sorcerer, a perfect backdrop for its master to display his wealth and power before the king and princess. However, to seize the castle, they had to defeat the powerful sorcerer guarding it. The wizard had the ability to transform himself, but he could never outsmart me, thought the cat confidently. His plan was to provoke the wizard's pride, making him transform into a mouse. The cat headed to the wizard's castle and immediately upon meeting him, pretended to doubt his transformation abilities. "I've heard you can transform into anything, is that true?" The wizard enjoyed the challenge. "Of course. Let me show you how talented I am." To prove his words, he first transformed into a gigantic eagle, soaring elegantly into the sky. Next, he became a swift and agile deer, running through the forest for a while. Then, riding the wave of transformation again, he became a cunning fox, quickly surveying his surroundings with agility. "You truly are great, but it must be difficult to transform into something smaller than me, like a mouse," the cat in boots said to the wizard. The wizard, boasting there was no issue, transformed into a small mouse. That was the moment the cat had been waiting for. Swiftly, the cat caught and ate the wizard transformed into a mouse. Having eliminated the wizard, the cat made the castle his master's new abode. Thanks to the cat's exceptional cunning and strategy, his master now held true wealth and power, and the cat invited the king and the princess to the lavishly decorated castle. The cat meticulously prepared everything in the castle. The grand banquet hall was filled with exquisite decorations and flowers, and the castle's garden was ready to welcome the invited guests. The cat stood at the castle gate, waiting for their arrival to greet the king and the princess. "It is a great honor to welcome your majesties to our humble castle," said the cat, greeting them politely. The king and the princess were amazed by the splendor of the castle and astonished by the wealth and power of Count Carabas. Then, the master proposed to the princess, who joyfully accepted his proposal. The wedding was splendidly held in the castle, and the union of the king and princess brought great joy throughout the kingdom. Thanks to the cat's wit and bravery, his master began a new life as Count Carabas, and so, the cat in boots and his master lived happily ever after. Please subscribe and like.